If you are a parent of a child struggling in school, figuring out how to get them the right support can feel like staring at a wall you don't know how to climb. Almost immediately, you're hit with an avalanche of acronyms. FAPE, LRE, IDEA. It is a language built for administrators rather than for families trying to help a student who is falling behind. The decisions made in these meetings are legally binding. Get it right, and the school district is required to provide the exact support your child needs. Get it wrong, and you risk watching them slip further through the cracks. This diagram shows how all of this complexity eventually boils down to two distinct pathways in Pennsylvania: an individualized education program, an IEP, or a Section 504 plan. We are going to decode exactly how these two frameworks operate. We will examine the strict eligibility rules for each and the exact steps you need to take to trigger Pennsylvania's official evaluation process. In Pennsylvania, successful advocacy relies on matching documented educational deficits to specific state-mandated supports. Let's start with a very common misconception. Many parents assume that spending the time and money to get a private medical diagnosis means the school automatically has to provide special education services. That is not how the framework operates. Pennsylvania schools are bound by a combination of federal disability laws and state-specific special education rules. A doctor's note provides valuable context for the school team. However, it cannot bypass the state's formal requirement to conduct its own educational evaluation. Here is the practical reality. If a child has a diagnosed condition but is still maintaining passing grades and keeping up with the curriculum on their own, a request for an IEP will likely be denied. A medical diagnosis identifies a potential hurdle. The state evaluation determines if the school is required to build a ramp. Firm, direct tone. Securing support in Pennsylvania means proving educational impact. You have to document exactly how that specific disability actively hinders your child's ability to learn. This matrix compares the two options side by side. Let's look at the left column, the IEP. This is rooted in the Federal Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, and it is the core of special education law. To qualify in Pennsylvania, two conditions must be met. The student must fit into a specific disability category, and they must definitively need specially designed instruction to receive any educational benefit. The IEP mandates changes to the actual teaching methods. While a 504 might modify a desk height or seating chart, the IEP reconstructs how the teacher delivers the curriculum to the student. It also legally binds the local educational agency to provide related services. If the student needs speech therapy or occupational therapy or specialized transportation, the school must provide it. The entire document is built around present levels of performance and measurable annual goals, all to ensure the student makes meaningful progress. When it comes to where that learning happens, placement is highly individualized. Pennsylvania mandates that schools start with the general education setting, the least restrictive environment, before moving a child to a more intensive, specialized classroom. IEPs also dictate testing. Most students take standard state assessments, but those with the most significant cognitive disabilities may be shifted to the Pennsylvania Alternate System of Assessment, or PASA, if the IEP team agrees it is appropriate. Think of an IEP as a comprehensive blueprint. It is a set of legal instructions designed to rebuild the educational experience around the specific ways a student learns. Now look at the right side of the matrix, the Section 504 plan. This does not come from special education law. It stems from the Rehabilitation Act, making it a civil rights tool. The eligibility threshold is different. A student qualifies if they have a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits a major life activity, which includes learning. The support looks different too. A 504 plan provides accommodations, things like extended time on tests, preferential seating, or assistive technology. It does not alter the standard instruction the student receives. Because it focuses on accommodations, a 504 plan is highly flexible. The supports can be updated or revised quickly as the student's physical or mental needs change throughout the year. The driving purpose of a 504 plan is preventing discrimination. It is designed entirely to remove physical or procedural barriers so the student can access the general curriculum. The IEP provides a different instructional path. The 504 plan ensures the student can walk the standard path with the same access as their peers. Pennsylvania school districts have a legal duty known as child find. They are required to proactively locate, identify, and evaluate students suspected of having disabilities. But waiting passively for a school to notice a problem is a mistake. If you suspect your child needs help, you need to ask the school for an evaluation, and you need to do it in writing. Handing in that letter legally forces the school to review your request. However, it shifts the burden onto you, the parent, to provide the data proving an evaluation is necessary. You need to organize your evidence into 3 categories. First, gather all official school communications. Pull teacher emails citing behavioral issues or missed assignments or attention concerns in class. Second, compile the raw academic data. Keep copies of report cards, standardized test scores, and specific homework samples that demonstrate a clear lack of progress. Third, collect your external medical documentation. Any doctor's notes or private behavioral assessments should be included to give context to the academic struggles you are seeing. Compiling this meticulous paper trail goes beyond good organization. Clear records are the leverage you need to ensure the school's assessment accurately reflects reality. This chart maps out your strategy based on effort and impact. Depending on where you are in this process right now, you can determine exactly where to focus your energy. If you are an overwhelmed beginner, your first step is to stop relying on hallway conversations with teachers. Submit a formal written evaluation request to the school today. If you already have a medical diagnosis in hand, but the district is pushing back, your strategy needs to shift. You need to stop arguing about the medical label. Pivot your entire focus to presenting the academic data that proves your child cannot make meaningful progress without specialized teaching. If you are currently dealing with a 504 plan that isn't working, use the school's own performance metrics against the current plan. Show them exactly how the accommodations are falling short, and use that data to demand an evaluation for an IEP. In every one of these scenarios, the path forward requires trading emotional frustration for hard, documented evidence. Pennsylvania's Department of Education built this framework with procedural safeguards specifically designed to protect your rights as a parent. Use them. Always ask for copies of all evaluation reports, meeting notes, and the final proposed plans. Review everything carefully before you sign off on any decision. Keep the 2 checkboxes on the scorecard in mind. If the school proposes a 504 plan when you believe an IEP is necessary, or if they deny services entirely, stay calm. Ask exactly what data led to their conclusion, and ask what specific information would be required to reverse that decision. In the Pennsylvania system, specific services are matched directly to academic data rather than personal preference. Ask questions early, and when you sit down at that table, keep the conversation ruthlessly focused on what your child needs to access the curriculum. Securing the correct framework ensures a child receives the specific instruction or accommodations required to participate and progress in the classroom.